What are the most common symptoms of a man who is not in control of his thoughts and his stories?
He's in reactive mode. He wakes up, he's reactive, he's late, he's pissed off, he can't find his shoes, it's the kid's fault, it's the dog's fault, it's everyone's fault. And then
If you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you work too much, if you don't have reliable staff, if your marriage isn't connected, if you're unhappy, it's all your language.
the most powerful belief that I now possess is that I am good enough.
Your business results, your wealth results, your mindset results, your body results, all the results in the core areas of your life come back to one thing. And that is, what are the key results you see in successful men when they choose to shift their perspective, to put on a different lens and to use different language?
They become bulletproof.
What if you could completely transform any area of your life, your business, your wealth, your relationships, your marriage, your health, using one simple tool? Well, the truth is you can, and that tool is called your language. It's your internal dialogue. Whether your brain right now, your mind is your worst enemy, holding you back with negative thoughts, or whether you want to make it your greatest ally, unfuckwithable, bulletproof in your own mind so you can achieve true success, this podcast will change your life. We dove deep into the limiting beliefs and language that hold most men back and how you can take control of your inner world to get massive success and results everywhere else. Make sure you give this a like, comment down below what your favorite part was, and enjoy this episode with Sam Whitwell on how to take control of your mind. One of the most powerful things every business owner, father, husband, provider needs to know about is language and limiting beliefs. Like, this comes before any tactic, any marketing or sales strategy, whether it's in your relationship with your wife, fixing a broken marriage, being a better father, or making millions of dollars without all the stress. This is one of the most powerful principles, and most men have no idea how it works. So today we're going to be diving deep into this idea of language and limiting beliefs, giving men and women the tools to shift what's going on up here so they can get massive results in their life. How would you describe, Sam, limiting beliefs and language? Like, what does it mean to have good language, bad language? Like, where would you start with that for the listener at home?
Language is really important. Our words have the potential to bring life and energy or death and destruction. How we use those words, I don't know how many thousands of words we say a day, but how we use those words is really important, and it filters into what we believe, comes out of what we believe as well, and it feeds back in. We live according to what we believe. And if we are limited by those beliefs, then we're going to live a limited life, first and foremost.
Yeah. And it's so funny because that word in itself, it's like, how do we unpack the meaning of it? Limited, right? A good example of this is a lot of men will say things like, I have depression, I have ADHD. And almost always after the I have depression or I have ADHD or I have anxiety is followed by which means or therefore or because of this. So I hear it a lot with men. I have depression, so I'm not able to enjoy life. I have ADHD, so I can't focus on things, or I struggle to be consistent, or I have anxiety, so I'm afraid. These labels, which are simply words, put us into this box, right? And this box is a limited box. Some of the most common limiting beliefs in your marriages: my wife doesn't care, the house is always a mess, she doesn't respect me, I should be having sex, I work so fucking hard. Some of the most common limiting beliefs in your business are, I can't find good staff, I might as well do it myself, nobody cares as much as me. Now, if you think about what that actually means to be limited, if you step into that tiny little box of I can't find good staff, everything outside of that box and the entire planet Earth exists, but you're stuck in that box and you're not looking anywhere else. And in that box, in that frame, you don't search for good stuff. You don't ask how you can find good stuff. Same with the marriage. The house is a mess. The wife isn't doing her part. The story is she doesn't care. She doesn't respect me. Her life's not that hard. In that box, you don't look for the things she is doing well. You don't look for how you can support her. And that's really what it means to be limited by these beliefs. Now, we're going to dive deep into how this happens, why this happens, how to fix it today. But what are some of the most common limiting beliefs you see that men can probably relate to as they listen to this podcast? What are the things you hear with our clients? Some of them making millions of dollars a year, they still have this. What do you hear day to day that maybe a listener can relate to?
The number one limiting belief that I hear time and time again, I'm not good enough. Time and time again, hands down. I don't know how. It's too hard. Hear that all the time. It's too hard. And like you said, when we're in that box, we're not looking at how we can get out of that box or what's possible outside of that box. They would be the two that I hear the most.
Yeah, let's unpack the I'm not good enough one, right? Because we had an amazing podcast episode with Matt Hope. We'll drop the link down below. Check it out after this episode. We'll also put it at the end of this episode. And he talked about toxic masculinity and how most men are destroying in the pursuit of success. We destroy our health, we destroy our happiness, we destroy our relationships because we're masculine. But it's very destructive masculinity. And he's coached a lot of billionaires. We've coached men making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And his belief is, his not limiting belief, but his belief is that the biggest problem men face is that they don't love themselves and they don't feel like they're good enough. Now, let's just stop there for a second because you have heard this many times from men. I can almost guarantee a lot of listeners right now will go, nah, that's not me. I don't think that. I don't feel that. I don't believe that. But how would this manifest, this feeling of not being good enough, for the man who sits here and goes, I can't relate to that? Like, how would that play out for him?
Well, I think firstly, it's how do you treat yourself? How do you show up for yourself? What do you settle for in your life? Like starting to look at some of those, what we might call 1%ers, like they really, really matter and they show us a lot about what we believe. You know, so a man that believes he's not good enough is in some of those destructive relationships or is making excuses as to why he can't break out of certain patterns, or you know, is stuck in grind mode in work because home's a bit, you know, confronting or whatever. And so it's always looking at how I'm living my life, because how we live is a representation of what we believe.
Yeah, show me your results, don't tell me.
Yes.
Like men will say, oh, I do love myself and I do have great beliefs and I'm in control of my thoughts. It's like, okay, so you drink every day to deal with stress. Your marriage is a complete barren wasteland where you have sex once a month if you're lucky. Your kids don't see you as a hero and all you do is work and you're constantly under stress. So do you actually believe you're good enough and do you actually love yourself? Now we're getting a bit sidetracked and the listeners might be going, well, what does this have to do with limiting beliefs and language? Well, let me explain, right? Your business results, your wealth results, your mindset results, your body results, all the results in the core areas of your life come back to one thing, and that is what you believe. So when it comes down to beliefs at Empowered Man, you and I coach this, everything begins with a thought. Okay, so a thought is inside of your head. You don't think in your gut or your balls or your cock or your anus. You think in your head, right? Now, thoughts are simply words. We don't think in caveman speak. We don't go, ooh, ooh, ah, ah. We think in terms of words that have been taught to us throughout our life. Those words come in the form of sentences. So the thought, which is a set of words, sentences, forms into a belief. As an example, you come home after a long day, the house is a mess. It happens within a split second, without thinking, subconsciously. It happens within milliseconds. What goes through your head without you realizing it is, my wife doesn't care. I'm exhausted. It's been a long fucking day. I've been grinding my ass off. Now I got to deal with this bullshit. The kids are screaming. There's dishes in the sink. All you have to do, wife, is make sure the kids don't die and keep this house clean and put food on the table. Now that sounds misogynistic. I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm not saying that we should think that way, but we're men and hardworking men have those thoughts and we're justified in having them. Now, those thoughts and sentences now create emotion within the body, right? And what's the emotion most men feel when their expectations aren't met? Anger, frustration. Now, that anger and frustration, what does it cause us to do most of the time? What do?
React.
We
blow
react.
up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is where so many of us, you've done it, I've done it, we yell at the kids. Our wife asks us how the day was, and we go, "It was fine. Not too bad. Is everything okay, honey? I'm fine." Right? So our actions, the way we communicate, the way we express ourselves, the way we react, are directly influenced by our feelings. And our feelings come from our sentences and beliefs. And for anyone listening right now, think about any area of your life that's not working. Your beliefs are at the core of it. Beliefs are feelings of nothing but absolute certainty that govern our behavior. So if we have the same bank balance day in, day out in our business, our beliefs are governing the behavior, the actions, the emotions that cause that bank balance. If we keep attracting shitty stuff, you can be damn sure the belief at the core of that is you can't find good stuff. You can't rely on anyone. Does that make sense? If you're getting value from this podcast episode, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. It allows us to reach more men, to keep more families together, and to give you more value with the guests that we get on board. So please do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon so we can give you even more value. Let's just slow down for a second because this is like a lot to unpack for a lot of men. How does a man who doesn't have the life he wants, which is almost every listener, there's something more you want, how does he begin to unpack his thoughts and his beliefs and his emotions to get a different result? What have you seen work the best?
The first thing, first and foremost, is connection to yourself. Because if you're not, I don't know what I want. I'm not good enough. I'm in sort of survival mode. She's done this and he's done that and whatever. They're fleeting thoughts, like you said, but it also comes from a lack of connection to ourselves, because a man deeply connected to himself can sort of isolate that word or thought or whatever it is and decide what he does with it. So every thought knocks on the door of your mind. You don't have to open the door and let it in. But when we do, it festers and it flows on from there.
Yeah, so it's bringing awareness to this. And I want
Yes.
to touch on that knocking door thing in a second. There is so much power in understanding yourself, because if you think about any problem in your life, it comes from what's going on in your head. That is 100% a fact. Or you might not believe that, which is your stories, correct? Like if you believe that all my problems come from what's in my head, then you start to unpack what's in your head. Now, a lot of men have no idea that this is happening subconsciously. You recently hit a milestone for journaling every day, right? I would love for you to share the most simple, effective strategy a man can use to unpack his thoughts, emotions, and actions that you've been using for how many days now?
1,124 days.
So for the last 1,124 days, you've done this every day?
Yep.
Whether you're sick, tired, stressed, you've done this thing we're about to share?
Yep.
Well done, man.
Thanks, man.
That's fucking commitment. Amazing. So how does a man start to bring awareness to these thoughts that are causing either the success or the failure in his life? How do you do that?
2 questions to ask yourself each morning. How am I feeling? And what am I thinking about? A lot of the resistance that I get from men when I'm teaching them this method, I don't know what I'm feeling. Write that down. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Or my brain just feels like it's just a mishmash. There's just so much going on. Write it down. What's that going to do? It's teaching your brain that it's okay to access what you are feeling. So you're actually starting to open up that pathway. And then the next day, I don't know what I'm feeling. But I'm feeling a bit frustrated that this happened. And it starts to just ripple out. So like I've had many days where I haven't felt like doing this, but I've made a commitment 1,124 days ago to do it. And every single day I bring awareness to what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking about. And then I decide what I do with it.
Which is such a powerful way to start your day. And for anyone listening at home, we have coached over 5,000 men here at The Empowered Man. We've had employees making 100 grand a year to business owners making $200 million a year. And one of the first things we teach our clients, one of the things that they say is the most powerful thing they ever learn in the program, is this idea that you're in control of your thoughts and that you can choose something different to get different results. Now, again, a lot of men go, well, how do I choose something different when my wife has left dishes in the sink? She has done that, right? When you sit down each morning before you start work, before you get into the grind and write down, what am I feeling today? And you write down a one word: angry, stressed, triggered, happy, afraid. That takes the emotion out of your body and it puts it in front of you. So it almost creates like a dissonance or like a disconnection between you and the emotion, which allows you to work through it.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you go, well, why am I feeling this? So I'm feeling angry. Why? Because 2 days ago, my employee did something at work. Or because last night my wife wouldn't give me a hand job. Now it sounds silly, right? Joking around a bit, but we do think these things and we feel these things. So then you take this emotion, you put it outside of yourself, you take the why, and then you start to unpack, these triggers cause this emotion. Now, this might sound really fucking simple, but as men, we don't know why we feel emotions. We don't know what triggers us to feel emotions. And I like to think of the trigger as like dominoes. If you have 100 dominoes in a row that are all going to fall one after the other, all you need to do is move that first domino or that second domino, and the rest of the dominoes don't fall. So in the example of a typical hardworking man, the trigger is dishes in the sink. That's the first domino. The story is she doesn't care. This is bullshit. I work hard. You just take that she doesn't care. You look at the domino and go, well, she does care. It's just dishes, and you discard it. All the shit at the end of the dominoes, the argument, the yelling, the doghouse, disappear. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so as a man, if you can sit down and write down, what am I feeling today? Why am I feeling it? And then what am I thinking about today? You'll start to realize there's a lot of shit that goes through your head. We have up to 80,000 thoughts a day. Now, if you listen to every single thought you had, you'd be in jail right now with the orange jumpsuit and a ball and chain because you would have fucking killed someone by now. We've all had that thought, right? And I cannot stress the importance of this is you've got to understand your thoughts and your emotions in order to get to the next level of life as a man.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about negative thoughts. Okay. You mentioned something earlier, knocking on the door. If you have negative thoughts as a man, this will help you so much. Whenever a thought knocks on your door, think of your brain and your mind like a house. Have you ever had that person in your life that is just super negative? They always complain, they bitch and moan.
Yeah.
Let's call her Sally. Right? Sally comes over, she knocks on the door, and you let her into the house. You put her on the couch, you say, here you go, Sally, sit down, tell me about your day. And you give Sally tea and biscuits. What are you doing? You're entertaining that negativity and thought.
Yeah.
Now, when a negative thought comes into your mind, that knock is the first stage. It's the trigger. It's the awareness. Sally knocks on the door. She wants to spout some bullshit. I'm not good enough. My wife doesn't care. It's too hard. I can't do this. As soon as Sally knocks, you dive behind the fucking couch. I'm not home. And you don't let that thought in and you don't entertain it. And it really is that simple.
Yeah.
Is bringing awareness to what are the negative thoughts that hold me back in life, the beliefs, the stories. And when they come up going, that thought's back here again, I'm not letting you in. Because as soon as you let that bitch in, she fucking up your day. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So from what I understand, when you write down your thoughts and feelings, you bring awareness to that trigger, right? What are the most common symptoms of a man who is not in control of his thoughts and his stories? What does it look like? How does he feel day to day? How does he wake up? How does he navigate stress? Do a day in the life for me of a man who doesn't understand his language.
He's in reactive mode. He wakes up late because he didn't sleep well because the kids were up or the partner was tossing and turning all night or whatever. He wakes up, he's reactive, he's late, he's pissed off, he can't find his shoes. It's the kid's fault, it's the dog's fault, it's everyone's fault. He's in traffic and he's blaming and frustrated, and he gets to work and he spills his coffee on his shirt and blames his PA, and he's just in this reactive mode. And then he feels like all I'm doing is putting out fires all day. All I'm doing is, fixing everyone else's shit. And, I've got no time to actually do what I'm meant to be doing, blah, 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 blah. And home in the same traffic, walks in at home, dishes in the sink, kids' toys are all on the floor, creates stories, reactive mode, goes to his office at the back, drinks, finishes work, sends invoices or whatever, and then numbs himself to sleep until he rinses and repeats the next day.
So basically Groundhog Day, stress and sedation.
Absolutely.
And this is where a lot of successful men fall into a trap, because we sort of sweep under the rug that things are not well in our life. They're not good. So it's like we make money, we're successful in wealth, but our body, our mind, our balance, our relationships are fucked. However, like you say, because we're not in control of our language, we don't realize it's fucked. We tell ourselves we're good, we're not. And look, I'm not here to make every man feel negative. If you're a man listening to this right now, and you can genuinely say, hand on heart, I've got a great body, full of energy. I'm in control of my thoughts, positive most of the time. My marriage is great, blowjobs twice a week, right? My kids respect me. My business is a freedom machine. Awesome, dude. Well done. But how many men can say that? We've coached thousands. Like, one or two can genuinely say they have it all. So if you don't have that life, that's fine. No pressure. You don't have to have it. But if you want that life, it starts with shifting your language. It starts with shifting your beliefs, right? It all comes down to what's going on up here. So this conversation for me has really come from this idea of perspective. I did a course, God, it would have been 5 years ago, called NLP. And NLP, for anyone listening, is neuro-linguistic programming. This is what Tony Robbins does. Tony Robbins is the master of NLP. He's helped millions of people. And this course is pretty wild, because Tony 5 years ago wasn't Tony today. For any new listeners, I would consider myself relatively successful. I have a $8 million property portfolio. I have a business that generates millions a year. I have amazing team members like you. My wife and I are connected. We're intimate. I have 2 beautiful daughters, and I love my life. And any man can have that if they do the right things. 5 years ago, Tony was stressed as fuck. You knew me back then. Drinking every single day. I'd be holding a glass of whiskey at 12 p.m. while doing coaching calls. 3 whiskeys deep. Smoking a lot of weed to sedate. Arguing with my wife. Constantly just disconnected. Like, we didn't have sex for 3 months at one point. And I was so angry at Rosie for not giving me what I needed. Playing the blame game. So throughout that period, I was chronically anxious, chronically depressed. And even though I was successful, I was just unhappy. I think a lot of men can relate to that. So I go to this course that was recommended to me called NLP. And basically the whole gist of the course is today's podcast is you have thoughts and stories that hold you back from having the life you want. So my thoughts and stories were, anxiety is just a part of my life. I need to be stressed to be successful. I have no time. I'm constantly busy. I can't find good staff. My wife doesn't respect me. I should be getting sex. All sentences. This dude gets up on stage. He's like, you can choose different thoughts. Those different thoughts give you different emotions. Those different emotions create different actions. Those different actions create different results. I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me that I can, instead of saying I've got anxiety, I can say anxiety is just my body telling me to breathe. Then instead of feeling anxious, I'll feel calm. And then instead of hiding in my house, I'll go do the work. Fuck off. You're telling me that when the house is a mess and my wife doesn't want to have sex with me, instead of going, she doesn't care, she doesn't respect me, I can choose to tell myself, my wife probably needs more from me. What can I take ownership for? Instead of feeling angry, I can feel motivated. Then I can do more for her, and then she sucks my dick. Fuck off. Right? Sounds silly, right? And I did this 5-day course and another 5-day course. And I swear to God, you saw that transformation. And anyone listening at home, it was as simple as just deciding that there's no puppet master in my head. I can change the stories. And since then, millions of dollars, so much fulfillment, so much joy, all because I changed this. So for anyone listening right now, like who's going through those pains, how did they make that same decision that they're in control of what goes on up here? How did they decide that it's all within their control? How did you do that? How would a client do that? How would a man listening do that?
Well, I think number one, it's education.
Yeah.
We need to be educated because we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
When we do know, then we're a force to be reckoned with when we start doing the work toward it. If I can sort of just backstep a little bit, like I feel like, as men, we can often feel like we're putting fires out all day because we've got problems being put on across our desk with work. We're looking at the problem and we're going, oh, well, the solution's this. There you go and fix it. When we start bringing awareness to some of the inner dialogue, the thoughts, the feelings, the stories, we put it out on paper or on our computer. We look at it objectively, we disassociate, and we can do the same thing. Oh, well, that's not a great thought pattern to have. I'm going to change it. And that's why I've committed to 1,100 days of doing that, because every single day I'm going, that's a story that's come up. Am I really happy, like, living according to that? Or could I just change it? Mm. So number one, it's bringing awareness. And number two, one of the questions I equip our clients with all the time is, what else? What else could I think? What else could be true? What else could I do? What else could I believe? If you can arm yourself with a question like that, you can look at anything and go, well, get home, kids' toys are all over the floor, dishes in the sink. Oh, she doesn't care. Well, I think she does, but what else could be true? Maybe she had a really hard day. Maybe she needs some support. How else could I show up? How else could I respond? How else could I show up?
That's a really good way of framing it, because when you consider what a limiting belief is, or negative language for a man, which, as we now know from this far into the podcast, is a lack of results, right? So how do you know that you have a limiting belief or you don't have mastery over your language, which is everything? Your life isn't where you want it to be. So if you're in pain, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you work too much, if you don't have reliable staff, if your marriage isn't connected, if you're unhappy, it's all your language. So if you're listening to this right now and you have any of those symptoms, it's my language, right? And what you're sharing is, if you have those problems, in the moment of those problems, and when you're journaling or reflecting, which is so important, ask yourself, what do I believe to be true right now? So I'm stressed at work. What do I believe to be true? I need to work. I should be doing more. I must get it done by this deadline. We should all over ourselves. We must debate like a motherfucker till we jizz stress everywhere, right? It's true though. We tell ourselves these stories that limit ourselves. So in that moment, you go, I'm stressed. I want to drink. You bring awareness to the thought. Take a breath. What do I believe to be true right now? In that moment that you believe that, you then ask yourself, well, what else could be true? So I need to work right now. Okay, well, I don't need to work. I'm choosing to work. Now, this might sound simple, but that simple shift of I need to work to I'm choosing to work takes some of the stress off. Now, does it fix all your life's problems? Fuck no. But it takes some of the stress off. A really powerful reframe, which we'll get into in a second, but a different way of using language as a reframe, is when you tell yourself you need to do something, or you should do something, or you have to do something, bring awareness to it and count how many times you do it each day. It's fucking mind-boggling. And then choose, this is the whole point, what else could be true? Choose to believe that you get to do that thing. So I don't need to work, I get to work. I don't need to pick my kids up, I get to pick my kids up. Kids up. Sometimes they're fucking pigs. But you'll hear me say this a lot on podcasts, and you hear it with our team, is if you can change the language to I get to, instant reframe, right?
Yeah.
Another way to look at it is when you are upset at a team member or your wife or your kids, ask yourself, what is the story? And then ask yourself, what else could be true? Because, for example, I come home often now. We've got 2 kids, 12-week-old, 3.5-year-old. I grind all day. I work fucking hard. I come home, dishes in the sink again. Rosie and I have had the chat. This is your responsibility. Keep the house in order. Make sure I'm fed. I don't say it like that. I'm going to work hard and provide. I would love for you to support me with this. Come home, it's like 4 dishes in the sink. I'm like, why can't you just put them in the fucking dishwasher? Like when I eat food, I put it in the dishwasher right away. So the thought instantly is, fuck's sake, I'm tired. And then I go, well, what could have caused her to not do the dishes? It could be that she doesn't care and she doesn't respect me. Or it could be that she's fucking exhausted. How many reasons could there be for her not doing the dishes? What do you think?
Oh, so many.
Millions.
So many.
How many reasons could there be for a team member not doing their job properly?
Yeah, millions.
But we stay in that box of, oh, they're fucking useless, they're terrible. It's this victim mentality when it comes to beliefs. So another way to frame this as well is language is peace, right? We talked about peace in a previous podcast. How do you use language to create peace and happiness in your life? How do you do that?
You choose your words wisely.
Mm.
You understand that the words that come out of your mouth, whether there are people around or whether there aren't, they infiltrate every part of you. They infiltrate your attitude. They infiltrate how you treat people. And so your word, like I said before, words can bring life and healing and great things. Words can bring destruction. You know, and that's not even talking about tonality, just words. They're so incredibly powerful. And when we understand that our words are our responsibility, no one's making us say anything, no one's making us react or respond in any certain way. That's on us. That's something that we really get to understand.
And that's such a powerful principle because as a man, there are only 4 things you can control. Everything else is outside of your control. They are your thoughts, your feelings or emotions, your actions, and your reactions.
Yeah.
There is no puppet master in your head forcing you to think a certain way or feel a certain way. Sure, there's influences. Your wife is rude. She influences your thoughts. The government locked you down. That influences how you feel. But the only person who decides is you. And when you realize that you're a powerhouse who's in control of anything he chooses to be.
Yeah.
You mentioned a word quite a bit, reactive. Like think about where in your world as a business owner you react. Do you react to your cash flow? Do you react to your team? Do you react to people not paying invoices? Do you react to something your partner says? Do you react to your children leaving things out and just being kids? Like how often do we blow up and react to children being children? And think about how these reactions, these knee-jerk reactions that happen very quickly, think about how they make you feel. But they make you feel negative emotions. They make you feel stressed, angry, guilty, and ashamed. When I yell at my daughter, it's a knee-jerk reaction. I'm not driving home. You're not driving home as a man going, you know what? Tonight when I get home, what are all the ways I can fuck up my relationship? Right? I'm going to pick this one today.
Yeah.
You're not going to work each day and going, you know what are all the ways I can get angry at my team today? I'm going to pick this one. What are all the ways I can yell? You don't consciously do this shit. No one does, which means it's happening subconsciously. It's like driving. Have you ever been driving a car? You look at the dash for like 30 seconds. You look back up at the road and go, fuck, I haven't looked at the road, but you haven't crashed.
Yeah.
These are the knee-jerk reactions that are happening every day because of our thoughts. Now, the way I like to look at reactions for a man is you can be 2 types of men. So as a man, you need to know what type of reactions you have to your business, your family, your relationships. Way number 1, a thermometer. Now, a thermometer goes up your ass, under your armpit, or under your tongue. Hopefully not in that order, right? And a thermometer can only react to its environment. If it's hot, it reacts. If it's cold, it reacts. It has no influence. So it's powerless. It serves a purpose, but a powerless man is a thermometer, up the ass, you're fucked. Now, a successful man, he responds to his environment.
Yes.
And a response is a thermostat. A thermostat goes on the wall and it can influence the external environment. And as a man, when you understand your beliefs and your emotions and language, you can choose a different response. You can choose a different action or reaction.
Yeah.
And in that place, you have power. So for anyone listening at home right now, write a list. Like, what are all the things that trigger you in your business or career? And what are all the things that trigger you in your personal life? And once you've got that list, it might take you a year to do this. That's fine. Get the list. That will take you 5, 10, 15 minutes. Take one of those things and choose to unpack it. So what is the trigger? How does it make me feel? And then what are the stories that I have created subconsciously about this trigger?
Yeah.
So for example, the dishes in the sink is a very simple one. What's the trigger? Dishes in the sink. How do I feel? Angry, frustrated, betrayed. What is the story? Bullet points. And you'll see that the story looks fucking ridiculous. And then ask yourself, is this story getting me closer to what I want? And the answer is almost always no. Then ask yourself, how do I know that this story is absolutely true? And the answer is almost always you don't. So just going through that framework is, what is the trigger? Dishes in the sink, shitty employee, thinking about someone who passed away. What is the emotion? Bing, bing, bing. What is the story? Bullet points. How do I know this is absolutely true? And will this get me what I want? Very powerful questions. They automatically diffuse the emotion. Now what you can do is you can ask yourself, what do I want in this situation? What do I truly want? I want my wife to do the dishes. I want to be respected. I want my team to do their job properly.
Yeah.
Then you ask yourself, okay, what do I get to believe? What new power story do I get to create to get what I want? My wife probably needs some support. I haven't asked her in years how she's doing. I don't even try to understand her. It's almost always the opposite of the bullshit story.
Yeah.
Now, will this new story get me what I want? Yes or no? Almost always yes. How do I feel when I choose to believe this new story? Calm, at peace, patient. From that place, you can now make better decisions. What have I learned from this exercise? And what actions, if any, am I going to take? If you just listen to that, rewind it, do it again and again. If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Toni Empowered Man. ToniEmpowedMan. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches. So this framework, right, is called a reframe. And it's basically taking all your triggers and taking all your stories and unpacking them and putting yourself in a better state. Now, I have a very powerful reason why you need to do this, but before I do, explain to me why you think this works so well and how you've seen it play out for the men in our community.
Really simply, it's bringing resolution rather than sweeping it under the rug. You know, because we can get over something, we can have a thought and a story, and then we get over it. We don't talk about it. We don't work it out with our partner. We just get over it, right? You sleep on it. I don't know if you've ever done that before. You just, I'll sleep on it. I feel better. We're good. It's not resolved. It's not talked about. We just sweep it under the carpet. But when you go about a framework like this, it brings resolution. And there's no sweeping it under the rug. There's no hiding it away. There's no suppressing it. It brings a form of putting it to bed, so to speak.
Yeah. Instead of just letting it fester.
Yeah.
Because think about what causes every divorce. It's unspoken conversations, unshared emotions, unmet expectations that go on for years at a time, which ultimately cause your wife or partner to say, I don't love you anymore. It doesn't happen overnight because we don't work through things. And I think it's a symptom of most men. We either go one of two ways. We are an asshole and we just project, you're wrong, fuck you, I'm angry, I'm triggered, yelling, arguing, etc. Or we're the nice guy, we don't want to offend anyone, so we just sweep it under the rug. Wife's not having sex with me, I'm not going to say anything, I don't want to get hurt. Team aren't performing, I don't want to upset them, I don't want to rock the boat, instead of actually resolving these things. But it's really hard to resolve issues in your business or personal life unless you've resolved them within yourself. And the power of reframing your beliefs and language, your emotions, your stories, and your actions is you go from negative emotions, negative stories that don't get you what you want in life to new stories that you're choosing to rewrite. You're holding the pen, new language, which creates new emotions, which creates new actions. And one of the most powerful limiting beliefs you can shift, right, is that you have problems in your life. Ultimately, this entire podcast, this entire thing we're talking about is the fact that there are no problems. There are only opportunities to learn and grow. So what if every argument you had that you keep having over and over again, the same fucking argument, is something you haven't learned and grown from? You know, Rosie and I have had hundreds of arguments in our marriage. We have none anymore. None. Zero. For almost a year now. I've lost track. Now, it's good to have arguments, but every argument was an opportunity to learn and grow. I chose to believe that. When a problem happens in my business, an unexpected tax bill, a team member getting poached, I can choose to believe that this is fucked. This isn't fair. This is hard. How am I going to get through? And I've chosen that in the past, but that causes me to feel stressed, angry, upset, or I can choose to believe that this is happening for me and this isn't a problem. It's simply a challenge that makes me stronger, and it's an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah.
Like, think about the power of that language. If you're listening to this right now, you're struggling, you're stressed, you have problems. What if every single problem in your life is an opportunity to learn and grow? What would that open up for you? You went through a divorce 3.5 years ago. Talk me through the stories and language and emotions you felt at the time and how you were able to use language and limiting beliefs to shift that.
How much time have you got? Like, some of those thoughts and stories, you know, I'm alone. You know, was this ever real? You know, things, those stories creep in. I'm alone. I'm going to be alone forever. No one wants me. I'm not good enough. You know, I'm you know, a metaphorical punching bag. You know, I'm just,
how am I going to get through?
How am I going to get through?
Is it even what's the point?
Yeah.
Even in business, what's the point? Like, is this even worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this for.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you had these stories, and then just like every man going through challenges, for you it was divorce. For some men it's business. It's mental health issues. It's not been enough. How did you feel in those moments?
Absolutely worthless.
Yep.
So confused. No certainty, no clarity on no clarity on tomorrow, let alone the future. Just absolutely purposeless.
Okay, so let's say you chose to believe that for the last 3.5 years. Where would you be today?
I'd be right. I'd still be there.
Would you, or would you be worse?
Oh, probably worse.
Paint the picture. Let's say you chose to believe, like many men do. Wife says, I don't love you anymore. 3.5 years of blaming her. This isn't fair. Fuck this. 3.5 years of that. What happens to most men after 3.5 years of that?
Bitterness, anger, resentment, suicide, massive amounts of depression, anxiety, lonely, isolated.
All things that destroy your world.
Yeah.
And my father's like this. My parents separated when I was 4.5 years old. I'm 33 now. My father doesn't talk to me anymore because of his bullshit beliefs. But for years after that separation, he blamed my mother and has never found another woman to stay with again. How many men go through this? The difference between my father and you was you chose to believe something different. When my relationship ended almost 9 years ago, I had 3 months of these beliefs. We're all human. This isn't fair. She should have told me earlier. Fuck her. Blah, 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 blah. Drugs, suicidality, depression. And then after 3 months, I chose to believe that there was something different for me.
Yeah.
So where are you today by choosing different beliefs? What have you chosen to believe about women, about marriage, about life to get you to where you are today?
Many different beliefs. I guess that the most powerful belief that I now possess is that I am good enough, because I'm no longer looking for someone else to set the benchmark of what being good enough is. I'm good enough because I choose to be good enough. What I believe about women, about relationships, it's not a global, all women, you know, break your heart or whatever. It's like, no, that relationship didn't work out. And yeah, that was devastating, but that's not every relationship. I have tools as to what I invest in my other relationships and what I'll invest in my next relationship. I have standards. I have many things that I now believe that 3.5 years ago I wouldn't have even comprehended or thought about.
Yep. And this is the possibility for so many men. Like if you're sitting here at home listening to this and asking yourself, how does this apply to me? It's very simple. Do the words in your head and do the emotions you feel day to day, which you're probably not even aware of, do they cause pain or do they open up possibility? Like in your business, do the things you think every day and the actions you take and the emotions you feel, stress, anger, frustration, I can't find good stuff. Is that painful? Of course it fucking is. Or is it creating possibility? And if it's not creating possibility, the difference between pain and possibility is the language you use. So if you take anything from this podcast, it's asking yourself, cool, what's the words in my head that limit me? And then what's the opposite of that? You can use the reframe framework we shared earlier. Go to the link down below, send me a DM on Instagram. I'll give it to you for free. Just message me saying reframe. I'll send it to you. But what's the possibility in your world? Because when you look at the world from a frame of possibility, it becomes magical. It's not, I can't make enough money. I can't pay my bills. I can't find good stuff. It's how can I?
Yeah.
How can I have a happy life? How can I have more peace? How can I have a better marriage? How can I find the right stuff? Stuff. And when you jump out of that box of I can't, or I should, or I need to, or it's too hard, or I can't, you jump out of that box, you see the whole fucking world around you and you're liberated. Because when you're not in that place, you're lacking power, you're lacking peace. So some of the most powerful reframes you can look at is, how is this happening for me?
Yes.
What lessons and growth can come from this? There are no problems, only challenges and opportunities to learn and grow. And how is this happening to make me stronger? If you look at the world from that lens, it's so powerful. And I think lens is probably a good thing to talk about. The way I like to look at beliefs and perspective is this. Would you make a decision, a very important decision around your marriage, a tattoo, spending $1 million when you're blind drunk or blasted on cocaine?
Probably not. No.
Probably not, right? Some people do.
Some people do, yeah.
Yeah, we get tattoos, but it's a stupid fucking decision. Well, it's the same when we make decisions in our business or personal life. When we have negative thoughts and negative emotions, it's almost like you're drunk, right? And the best way to look at it is like it's a lens. So let me explain this a bit deeper. Let's say you are having a cold shower in Iceland, right? It's 0 degrees Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit, or just over one of each. So it's not frozen yet. And the water's pouring down on you. Would you consider that to be cold? Is that cold? You have a cold shower, 0 degrees. Is that going to be cold for Sam right now?
Probably, it probably wouldn't be. It'd be cold, but
yeah, it'd be cold, like 0 degrees. So
Yeah.
you're in a cold shower. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's say you now go to Pluto, and I've got the stat here for the podcast. At Pluto, it's minus 387 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 232 degrees Celsius. Now you have that same cold shower you had on Earth in Pluto, or on Pluto. Is that shower cold?
No,
What is it?
it's warm.
What's the difference?
Your environment.
Yeah, and it's also your perspective, right? So
Yeah.
you're in a different frame. You're looking at it from a different lens.
Mm.
Over here, it's freezing. Over here, it's warm. That's what happens with your thoughts. You can shift between the two. You can choose to put on a different lens.
Yeah.
And when you realize that as a man, you become so fucking powerful. So all of this ties down to one thing, and that's results, right? What are the key results you see in successful men when they choose to shift their perspective, to put on a different lens and to use different language? What are the key results you see?
They become bulletproof, and they're leveling up in every area of their life. They've got this thing that so many men strive for, but no one really knows what it looks like, called balance. But there's no perfect balance, right? The perfect balance is what works for you, not global, right? So it's like they've got this balance of the key areas of their life, and things are firing and they're moving forward. Like those key results of feeling unstoppable, feeling like, they're a force to be reckoned with, waking up each day with intention, feeling productive, feeling in control of their thoughts and their stories, reframing the ones that come up that are negative, utilizing those tools. Because like a great life isn't one without challenges. A great life is one with the right tools to navigate them.
Yeah, and life is challenging, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's normal to have negative thoughts as a man. to doubt yourself, to think that you're not good enough, to think it's too hard. That is normal. You're not a robot. You get to think these negative thoughts and feel the emotions of fear, anger, guilt, sadness. What's not normal, what gets to change is how long you stay in those states.
Yeah.
Like, you can genuinely choose as a man to shift what you believe, to shift what you feel. That's within your control. And when you do that, you become bulletproof. You become unfuckwithable. Oh, life's too hard. Well, when did I decide that? Oh, she doesn't care. Well, she does care. Oh, I can't do this. Well, how can I do this? Oh, this isn't fair. Well, it doesn't need to be fair. The language shifts the beliefs, and the beliefs shift the actions. And when you operate from this place, you become a production machine.
Yeah.
Like, new possibilities open up for you. All the problems in your business disappear. You figure them out. All the problems in your marriage disappear. You figure them out because you're aware of the old belief. You shift it into a more powerful belief, and you take different actions. And I truly believe this is one of the most important traits of a successful man, is a man who understands his thoughts, his beliefs, who's able to shift his emotions and be in a place of power.
Yeah.
So I've got some words here that I think every man wants and gets to achieve if he works for it. When you master your language, your internal dialogue, what you say out loud and what goes through your head, you experience peace. You experience purpose. You experience presence, the ability to enjoy life in the moment. You experience productivity at a whole new level. You get 4 times more done in a day than you used to. In 1 quarter, you get done what you used to get done in a year because you're not drunk anymore. Your eyes are clear. You experience power, and you also experience connection. Let me repeat that one more time. If you want to be successful as a man, master your beliefs, and that gives you peace, purpose, presence, productivity, power, and connection. That seems like a pretty good trade-off.
Oh, yeah.
An amazing trade-off.
Yeah.
So let's say you are listening to this and you're like, I get it, but it's fucking hard, man. Okay, cool. I can control my thoughts, but what happens when I have the same problem in my business and I'm trying to be in control, but I just lose it? What happens when I have the same bullshit in my marriage and I just lose it? What do you say to that guy?
Well, so how long are we willing to go around the same mountain time and time again? Yes, we've got some tools to reframe, but it's education. I know I've talked about that earlier, but it's really a lack of education to stop the pattern, because we can learn how to navigate it, but to learn how to change it, it's another thing. It's about a deep dive into your own world to actually change things for good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Permanent change.
Permanent change.
Yeah. And it's not just about what you do, it's about who you become.
Who you become.
If you were to tell me 8 years ago that I could be happy and also make money and also have a great marriage and also be healthy all at the same time, I would have believed that wasn't true. If you had told me that I could wake up despite being tired, despite having a negative thought, I have them all the time. I'm not perfect. And being like, I don't know if I'm going to get through today. And then I could just go, you know what? Fair enough. I'm going to acknowledge your thought. Thank you for being here. I am going to get through today. And it was that simple. I would have told you were full of shit. And really, if you can start to educate yourself around how powerful your own mind is, life becomes so beautiful. I spoke to a friend yesterday. I shared this on a previous podcast. He has started a hedge fund in America. And in the last 2 weeks, he was about to launch the hedge fund. He had $1.3 million of investors' money ready to go. The day before they launch, they get hacked. He loses $1.3 million of other people's money. That's a lot for him. Maybe not for somebody else. It's a huge amount of money. That same week or a week later, he gets drugged, robbed of everything. His laptop, all his work stuff, his phone, probably butt fucked too. I don't know. Right? He's not in a good state. So I call him because we haven't talked in 2 weeks, one of my best friends. And I say, how you doing, brother? He tells me these stories. And I'm like, man, are you okay? Like, how are you coping? He's like, I'm fine. I'm like, seriously? Like, you all good? It's all good. I'll figure it out. Now, how many of us would balk at this, right? We'd just completely capitulate. I've been there. Earlier in this year, I've shared this in the previous podcast. Business at Empowered Man took a turn, lots of stress, had my second daughter. I could easily choose to believe that everything's fucked. And I know, by the way, that I'm capable of choosing that. If I choose that, guess what? I stop exercising, I stop eating well, I'm an asshole to my family, but I choose to believe it's happening for me, and I'm grateful for all of it. And life becomes really magical when you choose to live in possibility and shift your language.
Yeah.
Your perspective is power. What you choose to believe is on you. You can choose to believe life is fucked and focus on all the shit that isn't working, or you can focus on how you can make it work. And the difference between the two is you.
Yeah.
Now, as we finish up, this is one of the most powerful lessons here. We talk a lot in the Empowered Man about past, present, future. When it comes to language, how have you seen successful men, you've coached a lot of them, get stuck in the past or stuck in the future? How does that manifest when it comes to language and thoughts? Paint that picture.
Well, it takes you out of the present.
Okay.
So
What does that mean?
constantly in what happened or what might happen. So, depression lies in the past, anxiety lies in the future. Oh, this happened, they did that, holding that blame or fear of the unknown, what could happen, what might fail, that might not work. And it just takes us out of being in the here and now. Like we're having this conversation and I'm here with you. I'm not thinking about anything that happened yesterday. I'm not thinking about, what fires I might have to put out later. I'm just here. But so many men find that really, really difficult because of all the other stuff that they don't know how to navigate. Being present as well for the untrained man feels quite uncomfortable as well. I remember a few years ago living by myself for the first time, and it felt uncomfortable to sit in my own company without a screen. I don't know if you remember.
I still struggle with that.
We talked about this a few years
Limiting
ago.
belief.
Yeah. We talked about this a few years ago, and you challenged me to create intentional time to sit in the here and now without a screen, without anything, but just becoming comfortable in my own space. And now I do that with ease, and I replicate that to my son. When he's with me, we're in the present. There's no hang on a minute, Luca, I'll be right with you. Oh, one more thing. It's like, I'm here. And for the untrained man, that feels uncomfortable. But when we grasp the power of it, can't change what has been. We learn the lesson about it, but we can't change it. And we can control some of the future in terms of the decisions we make that lead us there. But sitting around being anxious and fearful of it, it's not going to do anything except take us out of the here and now.
Which is something a lot of us struggle with.
Yeah.
There's a few things I want to unpack there. And the first one is what just happened. So as you were speaking, it happens super quick. I didn't realize it was happening. I blurted something out. I still struggle with that. So because I've done enough journaling and reflection, all the stuff we teach that every man needs to know about to be successful, I instantly went, limiting belief. So now out loud, I'm going to say to you, and this is how you do it in real time, I don't struggle with that. I've been finding it challenging because struggle creates negative emotion.
Yeah.
I feel bad, whereas I find it challenging. I love a challenge. That shift in language allows me to now look at it from a different frame, a different perspective. Makes sense? Now, you spoke about presence. Presence is difficult for a lot of men. And think about it. Like, what's the point of being successful and making money if you lose your family, your wife, or your kids in the process? What's the point of being successful if you can't enjoy life in the moment? You can't switch off. You don't have hobbies. You don't see your friends. But so many men make these sacrifices. And again, it's because of what they believe. But it's also because their language and their focus is not in the moment. So for the listener at home, think about how much time as a percentage each day, roughly, you spend in the past. So you're thinking about what happened at work, what your wife did or didn't do, the traffic you got stuck in. So you're driving to work. You've already got a fucking war in the business that you get to fight every day, but you're latched on to that guy that cut you off in traffic. And you take that moment of time. I've done this, we've all done it, that happened within a split second. And it only existed in that moment. And then because of your thoughts, because of your language, you take that moment with you through the whole day. It just comes along with you. And it's that extra weight on top of all the shit you're carrying in your suitcase at work. Or you could just choose to let it go.
Yeah.
That's so wild. And that's all within your control. So think about, as the listener, how much shit do you carry from the past every single day? And then for most high performing men, I struggle with this. I find this challenging. Is how much time do you spend in the future? Like, as a successful man, as a high performer, it's a blessing and a curse. How much time do you spend thinking about that bill you have to pay, how you're going to market, how you're going to compete with that competitor, how you're going to pay the bills? Oh, fuck, I've got to pick the kids up from school. And you're constantly future focused, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But what percentage are you in the past? What percentage are you in the future? And what's left for the moment? And I've been guilty of this, man. Like, I would consider myself very, very good at this. I would like to believe I'm one of the best in the world when it comes to language, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to teaching this stuff. And I still have moments where I'm like, fuck, I've spent zero time in the moment because I'm thinking about my languages that happened or my languages that needs to happen. And I end up having a life where I'm not fulfilled and I can't even enjoy any of it. Fuck that. So anyone listening to this right now who can relate to that, bring yourself back to the moment. Now I want to do a bit of a deep dive, or not deep dive, I want to do a bit of a recap of all the actionable steps everyone can take. But before I do that, what advice would you give to a man who is struggling with limiting beliefs and language in their business or personal life? What's one final piece of advice here?
One piece of advice, sort it out now, because it will continue. And it sounds easier said than done, but start doing the work now, because it will infiltrate every area of your life and things will start, like the dominoes before, things will start to cascade, and not in a great way. It will eat away at your health and then your relationships and your business and other areas of your life. So like if you're listening to this now and you're thinking, yeah, that's me, but it feels a bit hard to sort of like reach out, like let us know so we can figure out how we can support you and help you through that. Because if it's coming up for you, it's time to start navigating it and sorting it out.
Yes, I love that. As a man, ask yourself, is your mind your best friend or your worst enemy? It gets to be your ally, not the thing that destroys you.
Yeah.
But so many men struggle with mental health, and this thing between their two ears is a dangerous weapon that destroys them.
Yeah.
But it can also be a bulletproof shield that protects you from all of life. And that's so powerful for men to understand, and it's completely within your control. So if you're a man listening to this right now, or a woman who wants their man to be bulletproof mentally, then let's recap what we've shared today. Number one, is your life working or not? Right? Are there areas in your body, mind, balance, and wealth that aren't working? Are you feeling negative emotions, stress, overwhelm, anger, frustration? If you are, if your results aren't where you want them to be, then you can be damn sure your language, your mind is the main problem. So how do you fix that? Bring awareness to the thoughts and feelings that come up each day. Write them down every morning. Reflect on them every evening. If you want help with that, send me a DM on Instagram. My link will be down below. I'll share my app and my system with you completely free of charge. So write them down. What are the triggers? What are the emotions? Start unpacking them. Start choosing different thoughts, different actions. And over time, that becomes the new normal. And there will be a world where you live in the moment. Everything you look at, every problem is just a challenge. You learn and you grow, and life becomes fucking beautiful, man. You make more money. You have more success. You love life. You have more sex. You have more connection. It's the promised land, but it begins with what you think, what you believe, and the words that you use. Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise,
have an amazing day, brother.
You too.
Awesome. If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Toni Empowered Man, ToniEmpoweredMan. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches.